It's another week of nerd stuff, and you think I'm getting dressed on my day off, you're very much mistaken. So coming at you, Hefner style. The Sad Puppies is kicking off again with all the usual drama that you'd expect. People being put on a slate. Not allowed to call it a slate this time, apparently. Being put on a slate, getting upset, distancing themselves. Camps being drawn to great houses, both alike, and you know how it goes. At this point, it's kind of just a bit sad, really. Both sides are so utterly entrenched that nothing is ever gonna get anywhere. And you know, on one side, look, guys, listen to me. Literature is never going to love you. Stop trying. Just be cool. And on the other side, they're not gonna let you win ever. They'll do whatever it takes. They'll burn the awards down before they give any of you an award. So make your own, maybe. Maybe split off and make a genuine award that's worth something, maybe voted on by the fans, something like that. That, yeah, might be a good idea. So at this point, you know, I'm more on the side of the puppies because they're reacting to bullshit. But at this point, a pox on both your houses. Really, can we just get away from it all? Because it's pointless and stupid, and no one's going to change their minds at this point. Hulkamania has run wild on Gorka, and Hulk Hogan has been awarded 115 million in damages, plus I think it's 25 million in personal damages against them after they ran his sex tape, despite being ordered not to by the court. So why is this nerd news? Well, there's the whole wrestling thing, and I guess if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, you know, that counts as a nerd pastime, I suppose. But it's also significant because Gorka is an umbrella for a lot of terrible blogs. You know, computer games, gadgets, and they have a feminist blog which has attacked computer games and gadgets on various occasions. So, you know, if Gorka goes down, that takes a lot of other shit with it that has had a hugely massive negative impact on the geek and nerd community. So, yay! They were also extremely key in slandering Gamergate at the time, so you know that's another reason to give them the giant finger. Unfortunately, it's probably going to be reduced, if not completely eliminated, on appeal, so it remains to be seen whether Gorka actually gets killed by this. But on top of the tens of millions of damage that Gamergate did, I guess there's a good chance a crippling injury may be struck to this rag. What's been fascinating to watch in the aftermath, though, is that suddenly all these outlets that weren't interested in free expression and ethical journalism and so on are suddenly discovering that they're all constitutional scholars and, you know, want to preserve free speech. So I guess sometimes it takes an elbow drop to get people on side. The Division is out with Tom Clancy's corpse propped on it like some kind of grotesque meat piñata which people can whack at in the hope that guns will fall out. By all accounts, it's worse than early release Destiny in that it's dull, it's boring, the enemies are all similar, the suspension of disbelief drops through the floor when you have to pump 3 magazines into someone's head to kill them. So, not necessarily a great experience. But what's interesting, really interesting, is the degree to which censorship has gone on. Even the term SJW, the acronym SJW, is censored out of the chat. I guess maybe since Tom Clancy died of cancer, they didn't want to mention cancer in the game as it would trigger someone. The lesbian holocaust has continued on popular television with Denise on The Walking Dead being struck down in a bolt from the blue. Apparently people didn't realise that Man the Harpoons was a joke. So this obviously being the second lesbian death in recent memory is taken as proof that there's some kind of huge bias against LGBT people and that they deserve plot immunity from anything bad ever happening to them, which was already an issue in the 100, but in The Walking Dead, expecting any character other than Rick, maybe, to have plot immunity is just loco. So we'll see. What other significant lesbian characters are there? Maybe they should watch their backs. Games on Demand is running a fundraiser to bring diversity to the Origins game convention. It never quite spells out what diversity means, but if you want to be the token gay, blind, spastic Pakistani in a wheelchair at the convention, while people stare daggers at you because they had to sell the last few cards in their Magic collection to get there, then by all means, apply. Microsoft were forced to shut down their Twitter bot, Tay, because she became a racist shitposter. Now, obviously, you do anything on the internet, and the trolls and the pranksters waltz up and start to fuck with it, and this attempt at artificial intelligence was no different. They basically trained her to act like someone off Pol. And so the normies had the predictable reaction. So as a result of their overreaction, we may lose some advances and some opportunity to learn, and let's face it, an AI semi-randomly spewing racist drivel is about as authentic as the other people online spewing racist and offensive drivel, because they're just doing it to wind you up. And the sooner we learn that and stop making a fuss about it, whether it's an AI or a person, the better. Mild controversy at Drive-Thru/RPG Now under the One Bookshelf umbrella as their new reporting system kicked in, as someone apparently thought that Avenger Satanis's Alpha Blue was beyond the pale. This may be because there's a single paragraph mention of a rape machine buried in the bowels of the book, and that was enough to trigger somebody. So it was reported, it was taken down and suspended. Apparently it will take up to 2 weeks to restore something to sale, but this happened more quickly, perhaps because Venture put a lot of effort into raising awareness and they probably got a lot of flack over it. I have the honour of being the first person ever to have a product banned from the site, and this is the system they put in place to handle terrible, nasty people like me who put rude words in their games. But the story has a happy ending. The game was returned to sale and whitelisted, so it can't be bugged again. So, is this a win or is this a fail? It's shown up the weakness in the system that someone can report that easily and that it can take possibly that long to get it back up for sale. But on the other hand, it's shown an isolated incident of we know we can go as far as Venture Satanis without triggering something being banned. So, we now know that the line is somewhere between Alpha Blue and Tournament of Rapists. But you mention Gamergate, or make a card game that makes fun of some people, that's way beyond the pale. Consistency, apparently that's something for thick viscous liquids. And lastly, surprising absolutely no one, the WiiU, also known as the Bayonetta Game & Watch, has died and is no longer going to be produced. They lost this one. What's Nintendo going to do next? Are they going to bother trying to do a proper console next time around, or are they going to stick to handhelds? Who knows what the future holds? And that was the Geek that was.